Yeah, we want to look natural.
Yes.
We want
My
to
patients want to look like nothing was done,
age.
and they look like a younger version of themselves.
Great. Now, for those who may say, I'm not ready for Botox and I'm not ready for some of the fillers that you talked about, are there any natural alternatives to Botox and the fillers?
Yes. So what I would use as an alternative for the frown lines, we can use what are called smooth thread. They're almost like acupuncture needles. They're very slim and very tiny, and they have a little thread in them. I leave a thread behind that stimulates collagen, and that smooths out the wrinkle, or I can put it directly into the muscle, and that makes the muscle less strong and powerful, kind of diminishes it for people that don't want Botox. And for people that aren't into getting the fillers, I use PRF gel, which I mentioned before earlier. But PRF gel comes from your own body. It is all natural. It's 100% safe. It comes from you. There are no additives. And what is involved in that is I draw your blood, and I have different tubes. One I spin down at a different rate, put it in a heater, it becomes a gel. The other one I spin down at a lower rate for less time, and I mix the two tubes, and it makes a substance very similar to filler, and I can inject it in the hollows under your eyes, in the cheek area, in the smile lines, on the lower third of the face, and even in the lips, but not necessarily to make the lips larger, but to make the lips smoother and younger.
Okay. The name of your program is Inner Health, Outer Beauty. And, you know, we've talked about what we can do to take care of the external, the Botox, the fillers, etc. And we're doing this because everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. And we certainly want to look good while we're here. So as we work at rejuvenation, you know, looking younger, smoothing things out, what we see on the outside, how can we match that up so that we feel good on the inside too? We're feeling as good as we're looking externally.
Well, for women, after menopause, there is a decrease in the female hormone estrogen, and that causes a lot of the changes in the skin that we're seeing. It makes the skin thinner, it makes it drier, it makes the collagen in our skin decrease, and it really changes our skin quality.
We get that crepey look.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can use, actually, there are some topical hormone creams that you can use on your face to help to restore the skin. You can also replace your hormones. I know many women are afraid to do so, but I'm very much a proponent of that, as you know. I've been on bioidentical hormone replacement therapy for about 18 years now. And I really believe that slows down the aging process.
Okay, so explain to us the difference between taking a hormone once you've moved into menopause and using a bioidentical hormone. Would that be the correct terminology?
So when people think of hormone replacement and they're talking about HRT, they are talking about a synthetic hormone. It's called conjugated equine estrogen, and that is a hormone which comes from pregnant horses. It is metabolized into so many different metabolites that we can't measure it. And so when they studied hormones and they came up with all these problems as a result of hormone replacement therapy, that is what they were studying, conjugated equine estrogen. What I am using is bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, and that comes from either yam or soy, and it is modified to be exactly like the estrogen in our bodies. and it is
Okay.
very measurable.
Now, I know that we can take a pill for the HRT. How do you use the bioidentical hormone?
The bioidentical hormones can be used transdermally, and that is through the skin. And I just rub it daily, twice daily on the back of my knee, behind the knee. You can rub it in other areas like the arm or the thigh area. It can also be done intravaginally. And some people do oral progesterone. I don't completely agree with that. I think it all should be through the skin. The Danish did a study, and it was close to 700,000 women. And what they found was giving it intravaginally reduced the risk of heart attack by over 40%. And giving it through the skin reduced the risk of heart attack by 38%. And as I said, it also has the extra added benefit of slowing the aging process on the skin.
All right. So that means that you're not dealing with dry skin, which is one of the things that we see as we get older.
Thinning.
Does it take that crepiness away?
Well, it depends on when you start it. If you start it at menopause, you probably can slow all that down. But if you wait until the onset of it all, it depends on how severe it is. It may help, but it depends on, at what point you start it.
Yeah. Not long ago, I was in a grocery store, and the cashier was ringing up my groceries, and she was sweating bullets. Okay. I mean, water was literally running down her face, and it was so noticeable. I said, my dear, I just, I'm that kind of person. I just kind of asked the question. I said, are you going through menopause? She said, oh, yes, she said, and I feel terrible. I said, well, why aren't you taking something? And she just talked about, one, she wasn't sure what to take, and two, she kind of had a little trepidation. So what do you tell the woman who's suffering from night sweats or day sweats where water is literally just pouring down their faces?
Well, I mean, if they came to me, I would talk to them about bioidentical hormone replacement therapy and its benefits, and that it's not the same thing as HRT, which was studied in the Women's Health Initiative, which showed the increase in risk of breast cancer and heart disease and stroke and clots in the legs that go to the lung. We call that pulmonary embolism. So we're not talking about the same thing when we're talking about HRT, which scared a lot of women off of hormone replacement, as well as physicians are afraid to prescribe it, but they also don't know the difference. For me, my menopause was so severe that I could not imagine living the rest of my life in that state.
Yeah, and when I saw this woman, I was like, how do you cope? I mean, you work in the public, you work with the public, and you look like somebody just dumped a can of water or a bucket of water on you. And she was, I think she was glad to hear, because I mentioned to her, based on my relationship with you and you teaching me about these things, I mentioned it to her as well. So I think she kind of had a little some relief in learning that there was something to minimize her symptoms.
Well, some people believe they're supposed to suffer, and when I went to my OBGYN, he offered me Prozac. He did not offer me any type of hormone replacement, which I knew I didn't have a deficiency in Prozac. I knew I had a deficiency in the female hormone estrogen.
So when women go to the doctor and they are having these symptoms, educate them now and tell them what they ought to be asking, writing down some notes before they go in so they don't forget. How can they get better educated about dealing with being a woman who is aging?
Well, I would say that's pretty difficult because it depends on how open-minded
Mhm.
your doctor is. And if they're against it, then they're going to do everything to turn you against it and tell you that it's dangerous. If it's a man, he might not be empathetic.
Mhm.
If it's a woman who is like in her 30s or 40s and she hasn't gone through this, she doesn't understand it. I
Mhm.
know that when I was in my 30s and my patients were going through menopause, I really didn't know what was going on with them. And they had some psychological complaints. I was actually referring them to a psychiatrist.
Hmm.
I didn't understand what was going on until I went through menopause, until it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was like, oh, that's what this is.
Yeah.
And this is intolerable. I have to do something about it.
Uh-huh.
So they have to find the right practitioner.
And that means asking questions and not being afraid to say, you may not be the right practitioner for me.
Yeah, but you have to be able to think. It's a lot to sort out as well.
Mhm.
It's a lot. And as far as the Women's Health Initiative and an increase in breast cancer, there
Mhm.
haven't been many studies in the US about bioidentical hormone replacement therapy and if that would increase breast cancer. So all the research that I find, it comes from other countries like Britain or maybe Canada. And what they did say that if a woman gets breast cancer, it is more treatable because it's not as an advanced state
Mhm.
as when they're not on any type of hormone replacement.
Okay. You know, I love the fact that the name of your program is Inner Health, Outer Beauty, and you get a chance to address the things that we look at when we look in the mirror in the morning and before we go to bed at night, and then how we age. What do you say to men and women about how to age gracefully?
Well, what I have really discovered lately has been a real eye opener. And I really didn't realize the impact of glutathione on how we age, and that can actually be replaced. Glutathione is a master antioxidant, and they have used it in women, and they have found after 12 weeks that they had fewer wrinkles, more elasticity in the skin, and less discoloration.
Hmm.
And that seemed to persist. They also found that the inflammation in women's bodies, which they measured when they put them on a supplement to increase glutathione, the inflammation went down, and that also persisted for many months after they were off of the supplement. So anyone who's afraid of hormones for whatever reason, be it male or female, I recommend wholeheartedly a glutathione supplement that I've really recently come across, and it's called Immunical.
So
So
how
I
does that,
recommend that.
how
And
is it
then
administered?
it is oral. It's an oral supplement.
Okay.
And so you probably, a lot of people have heard of going to get IV glutathione,
Mhm.
and it has benefits to it. However, it's like a burst and then it goes away. So if you take it every day, you can have a sustainable glutathione level, which is markedly beneficial to many of the diseases that we see are related to low glutathione, such as high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, arthritis, any type of inflammatory disease. They're all related to low glutathione, not to mention how we look on the outside. Our
So
skin and the wrinkles.
where do you get this? Can you just walk into your pharmacy and buy a bottle of it? I mean, if you want something that's really good.
They'll be able to order it directly from my website, which is cflwellness.com. I haven't put it up on my site yet, but that will be available very soon. And I've been taking it every day myself. It has been remarkable in the results that many people have seen with it.
And is glutathione something that you can take sublingually, like underneath your tongue, or is it just a pill that you swallow?
Well, it's actually a powder
Uh-huh.
that you mix with water,
Mm-hmm.
and it becomes sort of like foamy,
Mm-hmm.
and you drink it.
Okay.
And it reduces inflammation in the body. It reduces what we call antioxidant stress,
Mm-hmm.
which is related to aging. So it's basically either keeping you well or reversing the aging process or staving it off.
Okay, I was going to say, can we really reverse it? I mean, because every day we're getting older.
Well, we're getting older, and it's directly related to those levels. They've done studies, and they said that those illnesses that I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
are actually markers of aging and markers of low glutathione.
Oh,
So, COPD, asthma, cancer, uh, dementia, multiple sclerosis, a
mhm.
lot of things that I didn't see as connected by that thread of low glutathione now has changed the total way that I see uh, disease and aging.
All right. You have given us just a wealth of information just for every day, keeping yourself together. Um, and it seems to me that now is the time, wherever you are, is to make that investment in yourself. Uh, and it should probably start there because we want to be healthy, we want to look good, and we want to feel good. We truly want inner health and outer beauty. Dr. D, thank you so much for all of this wonderful information that you've shared with us. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I would like to thank you for your friendship, for being my coach for over these years, and taking your time to do this for me today.
It is my pleasure. I think you are an absolutely fabulous woman, friend, professional, and it's my pleasure and privilege to be able to do this. So, to all of you out there, make sure that you take a look at the Change for Life Wellness and Aesthetics website, and make sure you tune in next time for Inner Health, Outer Beauty. I'm Doris McMillon. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks again.